Hey there, let me show you something. So these must be the narrowest bike lanes in the world. Maybe 70 centimeters wide. I am in Timisoara, western Romania, close to the borders of both Hungary and Serbia. I'm gonna do a little tour of the old town today, to which I am on the way right now. Wow, this is really remarkable. There seems to be a forest growing inside this building. Wow, this bike lane is even narrower, but fortunately it's only one way. And I've actually seen some bikers here. Just let me put my foot here so you get a size comparison. Actually, I just seen some bikers here and it seems to work somehow. This is the bridge over the Bega Canal. And on the other side, the old town of Timisoara will start. Some nice cafes next to the river, partly on a boat. So this is the famous rose garden. But right now, in the moment, I would say it's not that impressive, at least to me, but I'm not so much into roses. And right next to it, there is an open air theater with a stage. You have to know that Timisoara is one of the 3 cultural capitals of Europe 1923. I have already visited and recorded a video or even 2 videos in Veszprém, another of these 3 capitals of culture. And I also almost visited the 3rd one. Oh, here's another part of the rose garden. I almost visited the 3rd one as well, which is, what's the name again? Eleusis, next to Athens in Greece. And I have been to Greece, to Athens, a few months ago, but I found that it would probably not that worthwhile. Okay, so let's continue the tour to the town center. This is Victory Square, where the old town starts, and now we are going into one of the most famous buildings of this town, the Orthodox Cathedral. Wondering if it's possible to film in there, but it looks like yes. So that was quite impressive. Completely different from other churches, like Catholic churches. Maybe I'm saying something stupid now, but it reminded me more of some kind of synagogue than a church, but it could have other reasons. I'm not really an expert. So let's continue to Victory Square, one of the three main squares of this town. I'm not sure if you can see this on the video, but there is a statue of a wolf breastfeeding two children. And this statue is it's an exact copy of the one you can find in Rome. And I read it up and found out that actually this statue has been given from the city of Rome to the city of Timisoara in 1926 as a present to, I don't know, to symbolize the common history of the two nations. So Italy 1927 of course makes you think, because this was already the time when Mussolini was the dictator. But I think it doesn't directly have to do with that. I have to admit that I don't really know enough about the complicated history of Romania to give a qualified answer to that. But what I do know is that similar statues have been given to other Romanian cities before that, in the early 19th, oh, not 19th, but 20th century as well. So that's probably the reason why it is still standing there. Don't know the name of this fountain, but it looks quite nice. Ooh. Quite windy today. So that's the opera house over there. The strange thing is that on one side of the square there are these nicely, perfectly renovated houses, but on the other side it's different. Not that it looks bad, but it's completely different, and I have to admit that I don't really know why. Here is this tower, which has probably been built not too long ago, probably because of the 2023 Capital of Culture event. You can go up there and have a nice view of the city. The entrance. You have to sign something. I don't actually know what it is. The only thing you need to do is to sign some paper that you understand the conditions. Actually, I didn't read the conditions. Probably they say that if something happens, I have all the responsibility myself or something like that. That's the top floor. I think it's about maybe 30-35 meters high. But you have really nice view over Victory Square, the cathedral. bit of shade from these plants. And I don't know what street that is, but this is probably where we are going to go next, to another of the famous squares of this town. Hotel Timisoara, and this is the Polytechnica, so it seems to be part of the university, or at least some administrative building from the university. And here, of course, the opera house. Okay, so let's go down again. No idea who these people on the pictures are. Looks like some actors or something. So in my 2 videos about Veszprém, the other European culture capital of this year, I complained about the fact that there is still a lot of construction work going on. Got some approval, but I also got a lot of critique, including some people who wrote in the comments that, okay, I'm a Westerner, I was born in Germany, I cannot even understand all this. But again, I need to tell you, the situation is similar here. So this is the Hungary castle, and you see it's not the real castle, it's still under construction. And it also hosts one of the most famous museums of the town, the Museum of Barnard, and you can't go in there. So the situation is really similar here as in Veszprém. Also here you can see a lot of unrenovated stuff, which actually I don't find that disturbing. I actually don't find disturbing at all, but the thing is that they started all this renovation work and probably thought they would be finished this year, at the beginning of the year, but it didn't work out. And yeah, that's the way it is. And again, as I said, some people complained that I'm a Westerner. I don't understand what's going on in Eastern Europe, but what I do understand is that there is a lot of funding for this project, and some people make a lot of money by this funding and other people don't. So you don't need to be born in Eastern or Central Europe to understand that. I also tend to get a lot of critique. People are saying that I am only showing the ugly parts of the places I go, which I think it's... Oh, that was a pigeon, which I think is absolutely not true. I'm just trying to be objective, authentic, and I want to show the impression I get when I visit a place. And of course, as everyone knows, every place has its beautiful parts, its beautiful views, but also the ones that might not be approved by some people. So when people complain about me showing only the ugly stuff or too much ugly stuff of the places where I go, I don't think the problems are my video. I think the problem is just that they are used to all these Instagram artists, or however you want to call them, who really try to show only the nicest and most polished things. And I, for one, I find this quite boring, and I think it makes or would make no sense at all if I would do the same. So that's my point of view. I hope this city tour is not going to be too chaotic, because I'm not only here to film. Look at these flowers growing here. So I'm not only here to film, but also I'm here with my family, and of course everyone has different interests, but I will try to make it somewhat comprehensible. So this is really an interesting building, and right over there, over the corner, so this is Boryai. He's one of the first people who found out, or how do you say, found out or imagined non-Euclidean geometry, which has become quite important for Einstein's general theory of relativity. Over there, this seems to be Unity Square. But I have to say that the whole town is really full of outstanding architecture. Hello, no. Okay. That's Unity Square. Look at that. This is incredible. Didn't expect that. It's a huge square. Looks like this was one of the first trams in this town. Let's see from what time it is. 1927. These colorful houses over there are really extraordinary. And also this building to the left of the church. So this is really an absolutely unique style. It is some kind of secession architecture from the early 20th century, but it's not the stuff you know from Vienna and many Hungarian cities. Oh, look at that. I'm in the center of the square, and here's another one of these Trinity columns. I have also filmed one of these on my Veszprém videos, but you find them in the center or somewhere in the center region of most Catholical towns. And I think that this is a Catholic church, not an Orthodox one. So let's see if I can get inside. But just look at this row of buildings here. Okay, seems to be open. Yeah, typical Catholic church interior. Let's see what kind of exhibition that is. Munker, die Arbeit, the work or working life, from the early 19th century. Okay, so this seems to be mainly about the history of the common people in this area. Not sure what this is supposed to symbolize, but actually what I want to show you is the combination of colors in this building is really special. And these tiles are also interesting. This one looks very much like a building in the Hungarian town of Szeged, which is just about, I don't know, 80 kilometers from here. Maybe it's the same architect. I'll try to find it out. So we've just been walking around for an hour or more, so there is so much to see here. Here comes the tram. Not really sure why they put this fabric on the walls, but I guess it's to prevent stuff from falling down, because the walls are sometimes not in the best condition. And I think we have arrived at the last of the three famous squares here. This is the Freedom Square. You can also recognize it by these red and gray circular lines on the ground. Nice, but not as outstanding as the last one. Interesting building. It says Western City Radio, and there's actually something that looks like the YouTube icon. 88.8 FM. So this is a place called the VR. I think it stands for Virtual Reality Museum of War in Ukraine. Is that the word? See the truth about the war in Ukraine. So and it looks like it has been relatively spontaneously set up in one of the very old buildings on the square. Well, I think it's really difficult. It's a really difficult thing to show the reality about the war in a museum. And I have to say that I found the pictures and the whole exhibition a little bit too aesthetically pleasing. So, not really sure if I like this one. Anyway. What's going on here? And finally, we walk through Umbrella Street, which connects Freedom Square with Victory Square. Okay. My family already entering this ice shop. And another ice and chocolate shop over there. What else do we have? So my son just said in Hungarian that this is a boring street, and I think I can agree, except for these umbrella. It doesn't have a lot to offer. I mean, the architecture is still outstanding, but aside from that, I don't know. Central Market. And here we got Tiffany's. Exchange office. Well, I think my son is right. So this is one of the most boring streets in this town. And probably that's the reason why they had to put up these umbrellas, to make it at least a little bit interesting. So we've been to the Orthodox Church, the Catholic Church, and of course there is also a great looking synagogue in this town. Unfortunately, it is closed. At least you can have a look from the outside. Unfortunately, there is this ugly car standing right in front of it. I think I'm gonna stop filming now. We're gonna have dinner at a restaurant. So to summarize, Timisoara is a real outstanding town. The sheer amount of historical buildings is really incredible, and I have shown you only a small part of the whole old town in my videos. So there are also lots of places to go, restaurants, bars. So I really recommend it. Just look at this. Don't even know what that is, but I would say it looks incredible. So our plan for tomorrow is to continue traveling. On our way back to Hungary, we are going to stop in Subotica, Serbia, and I'm actually planning to do another video there, so I hope it will work out, because maybe there will not be enough time for that, but I hope it will work out. So anyway, see you next time. Bye bye.